on, but there was a lot of sexual harassment allegations from her staff, specifically her producers, where they were, I guess one of them, I think it was a male producer, and I think he's LGBT, and he grabbed somebody's dick or something like that,
man.
Or some bullshit.
Yeah,
I'm like, yo, well, how the fuck do you get away with this stuff? You just walk up and just swipe a dick, and then all of a sudden,
hey there, buddy.
Like, how secure in your job do you have to be to come up, grab dick, and be like, I'm still gonna work tomorrow?
Yeah,
like, that's fucking nuts to me. You know,
played off as a joke. I got you.
Yeah, and there was like sexual advancements. I guess there was some intimidation tactics too. They would kind of treat interns very unfairly and kind of make them feel that they're gonna lose their job the next day, which isn't very great for. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. We got Edric in the house.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Oh, okay. We had a very funny conversation earlier.
Yeah. You know, can't talk about it here though. Sorry.
We can't, but we can talk about it in generalities. I fucking hate some of my friends' kids. Not anybody that you guys fucking know, because every time I mention a story, it's weird because when we talk about certain things, right? I don't use, if I do use names, they're not their actual names.
Right.
It just makes it easier for the story's sake. But every time I tell these stories, they go, oh, is it Bart? Is it Gio? It's like, I just met these guys in the last 10 years. There was 20 years before them that I met a shit ton of other people.
Exactly.
Also, they aren't my only fucking friends. You know?
I think it's just because like they're so curious about the lives of the people that they watch or listen to, and then they just want to attach a name to it, you know, like somebody they know.
They want it to be that person.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Because I'll tell these like funny stories or these bad stories about people. It's like, why would I tell those stories specifically about people you guys already know? That doesn't make any sense. It's too easy.
Yeah. Let me put these dudes on blast.
Yeah. You know? So listen, I know these guys that own this fucking comedy channel. Let's just call it JP Films.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking ridiculous. We just had Popeyes too. Amazing, by the way.
The spicy chicken sandwich.
Yo. I was at fucking Popeyes with Kay yesterday. So the reason why I got Popeyes right now is because when we went there last night, there's a new Popeyes over in Highland Park. It's fucking packed. Yeah. Everybody loves that shit. That shit was a KFC before. Nobody went there, turned into a Popeyes. Everybody's there.
No, for sure. I mean, even the one near SC in LA, I went to get some chicken there a couple weeks ago. Drive through, I legit waited like 20 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, God damn, people really want the fried chicken, man.
And so when we went there, we went to go pick up a spicy chicken sandwich because I was craving it. And when we got there was a sign that said there's no more fried chicken sandwiches left.
Oh, hell no.
And so there was a guy that was in front of us in a Beamer. He's like I don't know if he was white, Mexican, or Armenian. He was one of those guys. But he was chilling. And the guy, of course, he has to say this. You could tell the girl who was in customer service who was taking the order, she was very young just by the sound of her voice. Yeah. And she goes, hey, I'm sorry to let you know, but there's no more spicy chicken sandwiches. And the person before us, before you who got there, they took all the last tenders. So I'm really sorry about that. And the guy just starts giving this young woman some shit. You know, this is a young girl. Yeah. He goes, well, you should put the sign up earlier before people get into the drive-thru. And she goes, oh, I'm really sorry, blah, blah, blah. And he says the same thing again. He goes, you should really put that sign up before people come through. And you know, this girl, she's a young girl. She doesn't own fucking Popeyes, bitch. She's just an employee taking your order. Yeah. She's being extremely apologetic as she's doing it. And he says it one more time. He goes, just make sure you guys put the sign up in front. Now, I'm getting a little pissed because he's mistreating this young girl as if she can do anything about it. She doesn't own Popeyes. But I see this dude, he's like an older gentleman in his fucking Mercedes with his fucking younger girlfriend. And I'm getting visibly upset. And then, you know, Khalif is getting like a little upset too. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? Yeah. And so as we're going up there and, you know, I kind of joked with the girl, whatever, just trying to make her feel better. And then afterwards, she offered us like, hey, you guys want some biscuits or something that we could give you on the house? I was like, no, it's okay. It's cool. Just because we were really sweet to her. But as we were in the drive-thru, I was so fucking irritated. I just kept talking shit loud as fuck with my windows down. Because I wanted,
fuck this fool in front of me right now.
Because I wanted him to hear it. Yeah. And you know, Kay could tell I was like visibly getting upset because he was giving this young girl crap for no fucking reason. Like, what are you gonna do? You gonna beat her up? Like, you fucking tough guy? Like, she's a teenager. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, man, some people are fucking assholes with the windows down. And as I'm saying it, I forgot that her intercom was still on. I was like, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the guy in front. So I just kept saying it over and over, and the guy rolled down his window, and he kind of looked at the side mirror, and I just kept saying it over and over and over, and he just didn't do anything. I was like, you're not gonna do anything, you little bitch. That guy's such a fucking dick. I don't understand why people mistreat like fast food workers so much.
Bro, I got a similar Popeye story. So when the chicken sandwich first came out, it shit was crazy, right? Like you're talking, nuts. 2 hour waits, 3 hour waits. I didn't have
that chicken sandwich until maybe 4 or 5 months after.
Okay, so I think this was the second wave. Like I didn't hit the first wave, but the second wave. And then so me and my girl, like we were headed towards like the Joshua Tree area to do some like glamping or whatever. And then I was like, you know what? Let's find a Popeyes on the way, and then let's just see if because this is kind of like in the middle of fucking nowhere, so I'm pretty sure the wait's not going to be as bad. So we look up a Popeyes on the map. We get there, and drive-through maybe has like 20 cars, but then I look inside and there's maybe like a line of 15 people. I'm like, okay, that's not too bad, right? Well, let's just see how long it takes. So we get in line, and then there's a sign immediately that says all chicken sandwich orders will take at least 45 minutes.
Damn.
So I was like, but there's not that many people in line. So, I mean, I don't understand why it would take so long. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'm going to roll the dice on it, right? And then there's these two ladies who were maybe like two or three people ahead of me. And then they get to the line, and basically the fast food worker tells them, oh, it's going to be a 45, 50 minute wait. And then they just start going off on the girl like, oh, hell no. What do you mean 45, 50? And then I'm just like, dude, she doesn't have any control over it.
What the fuck?
Like, and she's like, let me talk to your manager. Oh, and she was like, and then both of them were giving her attitude. They started tag teaming her basically.
Let me tell you something. I already know right off the bat.
Yeah.
Those bitches were fat as fuck.
Yup.
Only fuck.
I didn't say anything.
You didn't say anything, but I already know.
Yeah.
You have to be the fattest fucking person on earth to ask for management at a Popeyes.
Yeah.
That's some other fat level shit, dude. I'm talking about unhealthy fat.
Yeah. No, they definitely were obese. And then the manager comes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. I've never asked for the manager at a fast food restaurant ever.
Yeah. And the manager comes and he's like, we apologize. We're just really backed up, right? And you could tell, man, like they're
stressed
fucking
out.
slammed, dude. Because they have to do like 10 things at once. Drive-through lines backed up, in the restaurants backed up. They're just trying to pump out orders. And I'm like, dude, give these guys a fucking break. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And then basically the manager kind of calmed them down, and they still weren't happy, but I mean, fuck, it is what it is.
How did he calm them down? He gave him some chicken?
No, he's just like, look, we apologize, but we really can't do anything about the demand right now. It's crazy. Clearly you can see. And then he was just trying to talk some sense into them. And then it basically took a little while. So I'm fucking sitting there getting frustrated as fuck. So I'm like, dude, hurry the fuck up so I could order.
Yeah.
Your complaining is holding everybody back right now. And they were only funneling the line through one register. So that shit takes like a good 10, 15 minutes or whatever. It dies down. The dude in front of me and we finally get to almost my turn. The dude in front of me goes, and then he orders a chicken sandwich, right? And then they tell him the same thing. Oh, it's going to be at least like a 45-minute wait. And he's like, cool, that's fine. I get to the line, and then I get to the register, and then I look in the back, and I just see piles and piles of chicken sandwiches. I'm like, what's a 45-minute wait? You guys got like 100 chicken sandwiches there, right? I mean, I didn't say that to him. I'm just thinking that, right? So I'm like, is it really going to take 45 minutes? Because like you guys got a bunch in there. They're like, oh, that's all for drive-through though. I'm like, you got that many drive-through orders? And then she's like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy right now. So I was like, okay, so if I order a chicken sandwich, then it's going to take 45 minutes. And she's like, yeah, at least. Most likely hour and a half.
That's fucking
I'm
crazy.
Like, all right, I already waited in line for like solid 25, 30 minutes. I'm going to eat something. So I just got like tenders or whatever.
I wonder if they could have just done the sandwich, but fuck the chicken, just give me tenders and put the tenders aside.
I know, right?
Might have been the same thing.
Or any substitution. And then so it took about like 10 minutes for my order to come out. But then the dude who was in front of me, he ordered at the same time, and his order got called up. And then I'm like, hold up. Hey, man, didn't you order a chicken sandwich? He's like, yeah. I was like, it should only take like 10 minutes. He's like, yeah. I'm like, why the fuck fuck this bitch like? Let me talk to you, man. Let me talk to your fucking manager right now. No, I didn't say that, but I was pretty busy because I could have gotten that sandwich for, in 10 minutes, but I think they were just saying that basically to kind of get people out of there because they were just so slammed.
Yeah.
But then, so I didn't get the chicken sandwich that time. And then I ended up trying it like a month after that. And I was like, I mean, shit, man, it's fucking good. But like this hype is crazy. Yeah.
You think it's better than, what's it called? The gay hating company. What was it?
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, there it is.
Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwiches. That shit's legit, man. I love that shit.
So if somebody gave you an option of a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich,
Chick-fil-A
right?
spicy chicken.
Hold on a second. You gotta create the scenario for a second, all right? Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich, right? Yeah. And a fresh Popeyes chicken sandwich, but you can't have sauces with the fucking Chick-fil-A sandwich. Which one? Because that's the thing. I like the Chick-fil-A sandwich if I have the sauce.
I need the Polynesian sauce with it.
Right? So I need the Chick-fil-A sauce and the Polynesian sauce. Yeah. But I'm talking about just the sandwich.
Okay, just the sandwich, then Popeyes, because they got that special sauce in there. Yeah. But I do love that fucking Chick-fil-A spicy chicken.
It's good.
Yeah,
but they got vegetables and they got tomatoes and shit.
Pepper jack cheese. You got to get the deluxe one. And then that Polynesian sauce, that sweet to balance out that spiciness.
I can't believe somebody would ever ask for the manager at a fast food restaurant. That's like eating fast food, going to the back and say, "Let me talk to the chef." Compliments to the chef. You fucking lard ass.
Dude, they were like really upset. They were going off on the girl, and you could tell like the girl was biting her tongue too, because obviously they're fucking stressed out, man.
That's probably the 13th person that yelled at her that day.
If maybe even more, maybe even more.
But yeah, people were getting to fist fight. I think there was a Popeyes like in South Central or some shit like that or whatever. It was towards the ocean area of LA. Yeah. But somebody ran somebody over with their car or like crushed their legs.
There was some crazy shit going on. Fist fights. I think people got stabbed.
Over a fucking chicken sandwich, dude.
Yeah. I mean, man, it brings out the worst in people, man. You fucking, pack people in like that. And you make them wait.
That's the best marketing I've ever heard of in my life. I don't even know how it happened. I think somebody else.
I don't fucking either. All of a sudden, it's just like everybody on social media was talking about this chicken sandwich. And I'm like, I didn't even know Popeyes was releasing a chicken sandwich, let alone it's already out and people are going crazy for it. And I'm like, is it really that? I mean, I love Popeyes. Popeyes makes some good fucking chicken. And I told you the chicken rice shit. Me and Dave were talking about this chicken rice recipe, the Japanese chicken rice.
Yeah.
I made it with Popeyes chicken recently. That's just fucking delicious. But anyway, I love Popeyes.
More, do you like Church's chicken?
Yeah, Church chicken. I mean, the honey biscuits, bro.
Dude, Church's chicken is my favorite. Like, I love Popeyes. I love all that stuff. But still, Church's chicken is hands down my favorite.
Church chicken is bomb.
It's also Beyonce loves it too. So
I just wish Church's also had a spicy version, That's what gets me with Popeyes, because I always get the spicy, no matter what it is, tenders, just leg and thigh, whatever. I always get the spicy because I love that little extra kick in there.
That's my shit.
What?
A little spicy shit.
Oh yeah,
I always like a little spicy, man.
For sure.
You know what I just found out too recently? Like, I didn't know, but what's it called? Logic just dropped an album.
Oh really?
And he also retired.
Wait, so he dropped an album and retired in the same breath?
Yeah, so he retired and he's actually going to be on Twitch. So
as a gamer,
because how old is Logic? Logic is super young.
Yeah, I think he's like probably now maybe 28, if I'm not mistaken.
Super young, right?
Yeah.
But he retired.
Wow.
Completely.
I mean, the thing is, I think he made more money than people usually do because he's independent. So he's put.
Oh, is he a completely independent artist? He's not signed?
Yeah, I think he was independent. And then he was just getting distribution through a major.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that's probably why he stacked chips up pretty quickly, because it's not like he had a huge following, but he had a very loyal following.
Yeah.
And then so they would support everything that this dude does. And like he's, admittedly always talking about like being a nerd and like being into like comics and like video games and all that. So it makes sense. I mean, if
when I saw his concert, number one, I'm not gonna say I'm an avid listener of Logic. I've heard a couple of his tracks and I think he's dope. I'm not, for some reason, something about his music didn't allow me to really be drawn into it. I don't know what it is per se, but I will say this: I think he's a dope ass fucking rapper, and I love his music. But I don't know why. But I can't recite a single lyric to a Logic song. But I fuck with him as a rapper. And then I remember it was a podcast that Joe Budden did, and Joe Budden was talking about. I'm not saying I agree with these sentiments. If there's a huge Logic fans out there, but he was saying that it feels like when he raps, there's no substance to it. Like it's almost soulless. And I don't know if that's the case for me, but for some reason, like I appreciate him as a rapper, but I don't really know any of his songs. And I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, whenever you have a rapper who tends to rap a little bit faster and they put more words into a bar, it can kind of get lost on you because it's more stylistic. It's like it might be more fun to listen to, but if you actually do listen to his music, he does have substance in there. It's just his style tends to be he's a little bit faster, and then so like even when you listen to him freestyle, I mean he could do it off the top of the dome. It's like real freestyle, but a lot of it will just kind of be filler words. He's not really saying too much, so stylistically, I mean it might not be everybody's cup of tea. But at the end of the day, I feel like he carved his own path, and I respect that, and I admire that.
I don't know if it's kind of interesting because when he said he's going into Twitch, right? And Twitch is a huge platform. Yeah. But I saw a video of him kind of explaining why he's going to leave, and I guess like one of the reasons why he said he was going to leave was because he wants to be a family because he has a kid now or a daughter, which I thought was a little odd. I'm like, you can't be a parent and make music, but I guess he's just done kind of creating music for other people. Because I think as an artist, he's still going to create music. He's still going to rap over stuff, probably still release mixtapes or whatever. But I don't think he has like a goal in pursuit of creating another album and kind of making rap his career. I mean, financially, he's completely stable. He was Grammy nominated twice in his early 20s. Now that I know as an independent artist, I think he won like a BET award. He's done a lot of shit. I didn't even know he was black.
I think he's half black, half white.
That motherfucker looked all white. I would have never known.
And the thing is, he comes from pretty rough background. Like I think both his parents were drug addicts. His dad was like in and out of jail, I guess, and so he kind of grew up in a rough environment in a rough area, and he has I think 1 or 2 older brothers, and they were kind of into that street life as well. So he might seem like your kind of cookie cutter white kid almost, but it's just I don't know, that's just kind of like the identity he carved out for himself, or even like the persona as an artist. And that's what I'm saying I respect. It's like he's not really trying to flex too much about I'm hood, and I'm pretty sure like in his beginning days he definitely had a little bit of inner turmoil with that, like trying to decide, am I going to try to be this street rapper type of thing, or am I going to be a little bit more, because I would categorize him as like more of a conscious rapper. That's kind of what he's on, a backpack rapper, I mean. And it worked for him, dude. I mean, he just stayed genuine, didn't really try to cater to like a certain audience by being a certain way. He just did him, and then it appealed to a wide group of people, and that's why his fan base were so loyal.
He has a very interesting fan base too, because I watched this Logic documentary on Netflix, and when you look at the crowd, it's all white kids. I didn't see a single fucking black person out there. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? That's so interesting. He definitely targeted a very specific demographic, especially for his popularity.
But I mean, that's the thing. It's that like when you're starting out as an artist, you might have a certain idea of who you're targeting in terms of your audience, but then you just discover that through the music you put out, right? And you have to have a certain level of business savvy in order to basically capitalize on that. I'm not saying that, he's only thinking, or not just him, but any artists who've done well independently are thinking it only from a business perspective, but you have to think about the business perspective too, because at the end of the day, you're trying to do this shit for a living. And like so many artists are giving out free music just to start building that fan base. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, if you're not making money through music and you're spending this much time and energy through it, then how are you surviving? What are you doing? And that's either when they're working another job or they're really hitting the performance side hard. They're just doing small shows.
I'm just glad it's kind of nice the fact that he has a young fan base, just because I think we're finding out recently, just because of how digestible music is and how quick it is and how quick it's delivered to everybody else, how much it transforms. People just get stuck on these quick little hype super fast.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, they'll be done with it. Like, for example, remember that kid, that Korean kid that he bit off that one song from that dude, OG Mako.
Keith Ape.
Keith Ape. Yeah. Right. And when that kid hopped on that fucking wave of just screaming into a mic, I don't know what the fuck that is. I actually listened to it the other day again, and I was like, damn, I still don't like the song. Right? But when he popped off doing that shit, everybody was rapping like him. Even people who weren't rapping like him originally, and they started rapping like him, and that lasted, 2 years? And then you don't hear that shit anymore at all.
Yeah.
It was such a weird moment. And I got a lot of heat for this shit too, because I remember I didn't like that song because I remember listening to it and I was like, damn, this shit sounds so familiar. It sounds like something I heard before. And it was that dude OG Mako song. And then I kind of was a little irritated by that, right? Just because this kid, the music video stylistically stole everything from the original music video.
Yeah.
It wasn't a rendition of it. The flow, all the ad libs, everything was just like that dude OG Mako stuff. And I didn't hear, when it dropped, it didn't say inspired by or anything. There was no credit given to that. There was only credit given to OG Mako until after he kind of was a little upset about it. And then I think the public was kind of like, well, why can't he just make dope music? It's still a dope song. It's like, well, that's not the point. Somebody else already put his spin and his taste and his hard work into it.
Kind of swagger jacked it.
And you stole everything. You didn't give the dude credit. And then you blew up your career off of somebody else's hard work. And I don't give a fuck if he's Korean or not. You know, that's my people. But you have to give credit where credit is due. And when I saw that, and I'm like, and people were looking at him as if he's an originator. I was like, no, he stole that shit. That dude, Keith Ape? Keith Ape? Whatever. Keith Monkey, whatever the fuck his name is. This motherfucker stole that shit. You know, I'm not saying that, people can't like his music, but facts are facts. It wasn't inspired by, it wasn't a derivative, it was stolen almost. It was beat for beat, ad lib for ad lib. Even the music video was very similar.
No, I remember when I saw that too, and I was just kind of like not surprised really, because the Korean music industry has had a history of doing that. Let's say borrowing from Western culture and Western music. And then it wasn't until like the whole K-pop scene and like K-hip hop scene kind of became a movement and a powerhouse that they started doing things that were more original, because they started to attract foreign producers and foreign songwriters, people in Europe, people here in America, top songwriters and top producers. And then so they were doing like original shit for them. But prior to that, prior to K-pop and K-hip hop getting there was a lot of borrowing from Western music, and it's like they say imitation's the highest form of flattery, right? But there has to be kind of a line with that, of like, if you're not acknowledging that, you were inspired by this artist or inspired by that song or that album, whatever the case may be, and there's clear correlations between the two.
Especially when your career blew up on it. I think that was the thing that bothered me. It was, because I remember people hitting me, like, yo, this Korean dude is blowing up. You should be super happy that a Korean dude is killing it in the American rap scene. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, doing what though? He stole that shit. Gave no credit where credit was due. And once again, people might be like, he did after. Doesn't matter if you did it after. His career already blew up off of it, And I think that dude OG Mako's video did well because they had to go back and backtrack to a song, which it already had millions of views, but they did more views after Keith Ape's song blew up. But it's something about that just didn't sit right, because I would hate as an artist to add my own unique personal spin, and then you see somebody else do it and they're giving that person all the credit. That would
for sure.
That would kill me on the inside.
For sure. I mean, like, how would you not feel salty about that? It's like, what the fuck, man? You just straight up jack my shit.
And there's a problem too with sometimes with, I feel like in a younger generation where they go, well, what does it matter? Like, people like it anyways. Like, that's not the fucking point. You are profiting off of somebody else's hard work. And now there's this conversation that people just don't give a fuck. They go, well, who cares? They're creating something. I'm like, what did they? This is weird line. I don't understand where it became okay to completely steal something from somebody else just because you wanted to, and as long as people are just having fun. Well, people aren't just having fun. Some people get hurt by this. Their careers get hurt by this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think it's a little bit tricky with that when it delves into kind of the creative realm, because it's not something that's tangible. You know, it's not like you can see the thoughts and the ideas of somebody, an artist, and it's out there for you to physically look at and hold and touch and see. That translates into a body of work, right? It translates into like a music or, you know, whatever form of art that they might be creating. And then when somebody takes that and like kind of copies it, I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect there. It's not like making knockoff of shoes, right? You have a tangible product and you make a knockoff of it, and then people are up in arms and like, what the fuck is this shit? You know, look at this bullshit knockoff, right? Because you're talking about this in a creative space, there might be a little bit of a disconnect there. And that's also tied to things like where people always try to kind of lowball creators, graphic designers, website designers, because it's like, well, you could do it for free, right? I mean, we'll give you the exposure, you know, we'll give you a shout out, or, you know, we'll give you more projects down the line. But then it's like, it's because you don't understand the type of work. Like, can you do this? Yeah. Can you do this in the amount of time that you're wanting me to do this?
Well, I also think people are okay with their artists that they look up to stealing other people's stuff because they want to be okay with stealing somebody else's shit. I really do believe it, because they want to be like, well, if he did it, no, it's okay, because you want to be okay because you don't have the talent, you don't have the hard work or the ethic, and you're this person who has no fucking artistic bone in your body, and you want to be okay popping off and stealing somebody else's shit, so you want to support an artist who does that too.
Well, I mean, shit, man, that is true in some cases where people who don't really have that raw natural talent, they don't, and they want to do it, the only way they can do it is to continually borrow.
Yeah, and we all are kind of a conglomeration of all the people that we look up to.
For sure.
So, you know, my comedy, things that I say, and sometimes even on this podcast, like I'll say a joke, me thinking that everybody knows where it comes from, and they go, yo, David, that's really funny. And I'm like, yo, that's not my joke. Like, that's a joke from, I don't know, like a TV show, or that was a joke from this other comedian that I'm assuming that they know, but I would never take credit for it. If somebody asked me like, yo, is that your joke? I would be like, yeah, man, I'm funny. No, I'd be like, no, that's actually a reference from, I don't know, what's it called? Parks and Rec, or that's a joke from The Office.
That reminds me of with Jay-Z, because like there was a point when people were like, oh, you always biting off Biggie's lines, right? But his thing's like, no, I'm bigging up Biggie, you know, by saying those. And I think that was kind of the same thing for him. It's just like Biggie is such an iconic rapper that even if I say those lines, you know where it's from.
Yeah, it's Biggie shit.
Yeah, but then I think on the Black album, I forget which song it was, but he did clarify that. He did have a line about that. He's like, when I say a big verse, I'm only bigging up my brother, or something like that. Yeah. So he was kind of addressing that. But same thing of what you're talking about is that because it's so iconic or it's so like legendary, you assume people might know, you know, but they might not, and then think it's either original or you're jacking somebody. You know,
it's like if I make a like when I was doing these vlogs back in the day, right? I did a lot of like Dave Chappelle jokes, right? But it was knowing the audience knew it was a Dave, and we're laughing about it being a Dave Chappelle joke.
Right.
We're not laughing at it as if it's my original joke. It's a joke that I'm referencing that everybody is in on. They go, oh, that shit is funny. That's a Dave Chappelle joke. You know, there's a difference. You know, and I think when I was younger too, like there was a certain point too, I stopped listening to other stand-up comics because I was so scared that it would bleed into my comedy.
I know exactly what you mean.
And I was scared that I would be somebody that was jacking somebody else's shit without even knowing it. And it did happen a couple of times. I forgot what joke it was, but somebody came up to me after a comedy club. They're like, you stole that joke. I was like, which joke? And they referenced the joke, and then I looked it up later, and I was like, oh shit, did I hear this joke before? You know, did I steal this joke? And I didn't know, but that guy was visibly upset. And by the way, when the person that he said I took the joke from, I wish I could remember, but you know, it was like a personal friend of his or whatever. And I had to take a step back, and like, did I hear this from somewhere else? Because it was almost spot on to the joke that I made. But then it kind of went in my line of like parallel thinking, because there was enough distinction where I was like, no, I don't know who this comic is. It wasn't, because, you know, that comic was Asian, I'm Asian, so there's definitely parallel thinking in that kind of case.
Yeah.
But I can understand where that dude came from if I stole his buddy's joke. And there was another time too where I made a joke, and I think it was a joke that I heard on Mad TV, and it was in my stand-up, and I didn't realize it until later on when I was on YouTube and I was just watching a bunch of random shit, and I was like, oh shit, I got that joke from that sketch. And then I took it out of my bit because somebody wrote that joke. Yeah. And that's when I started getting scared, where I stopped watching stand-up comics.
No, I mean, but that's the thing, is that when you're a student of your craft and you're consuming all this material, all the greats, and you're kind of building like a strong base and foundation to understand and build on top, like build your craft on top of that, it's hard not to get influenced, you know? And I did a similar thing when I was working on my Life Imitates Art EP. Through the entirety of it, I just quarantined myself, like from music that was out there. Cause I'm like, dude, if I hear something that's popping, or I hear something that I really enjoy, I might want to do something like that, you know? And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to kind of explore the subject matter that I was tackling, and then make a whole body of work based around that, without it really being influenced. Because I didn't want it to be like, oh, but do I have a song in here that could be like a hit single? You know, do I have a song in here that could be like a club jam? That wasn't what was driving that project. It was just like, do I like what I'm putting out here? And do I like it as a complete song, you know, from the production to the writing to like the rhyme scheme to the flow, my cadence, everything, and just looking at it like point by point, and then making sure it creates a whole body of work, right? Yeah. That is true to me, and that I enjoy.
Yeah. It's weird because there's a fine line too, because I had a conversation with this dude. His name is Russell. He's also a rapper. And I think there's a huge fallacy that some people, maybe in an older generation, or maybe just artists in general, sometimes like we forget to also consume art. And so because we're scared that we're going to either steal stuff, or sometimes it just comes from a very hateful place. So what I always say too, like fuck this guy. I don't want to listen to this shit. But at the same time, it's like with food, right? How do you know what good food is if you haven't tasted great food?
Absolutely.
And you could sit here and judge somebody else's dishes, judge what somebody else is making at a different restaurant who's doing really, really well, and say that shit is trash. But how would you know unless you tasted it?
For sure.
You wouldn't know.
For sure.
So I always try to find that good balance of, you know, making sure that I'm not taking too much, but also appreciating. But because I have to remember, I have to be a consumer first. I have to appreciate art first before I even try to create it.
No, for sure. And that's the student aspect of it.
Yeah.
You need to study that shit. Whatever your craft is, you got to study that shit. All the greats who came before you, right? They're greats and they're legendary for a reason. So that part I completely agree with. You have to understand what is great, what makes it great, and why it's timeless. From there though, and what I meant by like when I quarantine myself from like the music, I mean like new music, shit that was popping right then at that moment. Yeah. I didn't want to be influenced by what's trendy right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to take what kind of it's like encompasses your whole journey as an artist almost, right? Because up to that point, everything that you've done, everything that you've consumed, everything that you learned, everything you practiced on or whatever, it comes out in that one project, and then the same in the next project, and the same in the next project. And then so like, I just wanted to make sure that it was true to me and as pure as I could be, as unadulterated as possible, as possible as it can be. You know? Yeah.
Do you miss performing music?
Dude, all the time, man.
Really? I fucking hate performing actually. I fucking hate performing. Like even like stand up, I get that itch every now and then, right? Yeah. And then I'll go to a club or whatever, or I'll go to a college and then I'll set up a small little college tour to do stand up. Yeah. But then once that itch is scratched, I'm like, whatever. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know, man. It's unexplainable, kind of like that stage high, you know, of like,
I just want to be a hype man, dude. I want that one fucking white towel on my shoulder, and I just want to fucking say some shit. That's what I want to do. Yep. I want you to say a word, and then I'm gonna say a word right after. Yeah. Bitches. Hey.
Popeyes chicken.
That's all I want to do. I want the one white fucking towel. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, but it kind of goes in tandem though. It's like, it's not just a performance thing, but also creating content too, right? You got to have something to perform. And so I deeply miss both aspects of that. And yeah, man, like even with the music thing, you know, I've told you this before, but you know, when I dropped the Life Imitates Art EP, the plan was to release 3 more EPs within a year. That was kind of the timeline. And then so like, even after I had wrapped up Life Imitates Art, like Jeff and I, we were already starting to work on kind of what's next. But what had happened was my creative tank just was on empty, dude. Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize it. I just thought I hit like a creative wall, which happens, right? Yeah. But my process through that has always been, I'm just going to force my way out of this. Just keep bulldozing through that wall. And then at some point you're going to pick back up. You're going to find that rhythm again. But dude, just like months and months and months of unfinished songs, you know, 1 verse, 2 verse, a hook, no verse, right? Half a hook. And I'm like, dude, I can't fucking finish anything. And none of it is, when I look back at it, I'm like, okay, this can become something. I'm just like, I think I want to rewrite that verse.
Were you listening to a lot of music at the time?
I think I was consuming more at that point once I realized I wasn't getting out of this rut, just to feel more inspired. And here's the thing too, man, is that even though hip hop is my favorite genre, that's the genre that I listen to least when I'm listening to music leisurely. I listen to all different types of genres of music. And so, you know, I would like listen to music that I would like to, that I would think that I might be inspired by. And then searching for kind of like obscure shit to maybe I could draw something from here, draw something from there. But nah, dude, it just became really stagnated. And then it got to the point where I'm like, all right, I need to just take a break from it. You know? And that was the first break I ever took from music since I think I was like 16.
Art is just a weird career to go into. There is nothing that really dictates. There's no consistency.
Yeah, you know? There's no blueprint. There's no path.
There's some people who are just really good at just constantly creating, and there's just that's a small few, right? But there's other people who just, you know, who kind of flow into this art realm, but they're more business people. You know, I've seen people who are more successful in the art realm, but you look at their art and it's very whatever, and it's very mundane, but they're very consistent at what they do. Yeah. You know, and so they can kind of balance both pieces, right? Like I'll use a great example is like somebody like Kevin Hart. You know, Kevin Hart, he's a hard ass fucking worker. You know, he created this huge company. He's probably the #1 comedian out there. Does anybody look at Kevin Hart and say he is the funniest man alive? Probably not, right? But I don't know if that's ever his goal, if that's what he wants to do. But he's somebody that I think is a good balance of his funny and his art and his business. You know? Because nobody's ever going to look at Kevin Hart and say, yo, he was the closest thing to Chappelle. He was the closest thing to Louis C.K. He was the closest thing to Bill Burr, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. I don't know if he's within that conversation when it comes to comedy, right? But that's not a knock on him. That's just people who are here, you know? But at the same time, those people never built empires like Kevin Hart did. Yeah. You know, so he has that really, he could pump out content constantly. So when I first met Kevin Hart, first of all, really nice guy, like super nice dude, makes eye contact when he talks to you, just a very really busy guy. But just watching him work and seeing how busy he is, he's always on his phone texting somebody, doing something else, even before he was about to hit the stage. So I did this small sketch with him where it was for his LOL network. Yeah. And we did this it was this fucking stupid sketch. It's basically where he had to critique a bunch of my nude photos. And so he you know, it was fucking funny. The dude was cracking up the whole time. But he shot this right before he was about to do a stand-up show. Huge fucking stand-up show. Like at the Pasadena whatever. And we're sitting there and I'm like, he's about to go up on stage in about 10 minutes or like 15 minutes. And he shot this sketch with me in like 8 or 7. Yeah. And then he goes up on stage and kills it. It's like, damn, I think if I was going to do a show, I don't think I want to fucking see anybody. Get the fuck out of here. Right. But he's shooting all these sketches right before he's about to go up.
He could compartmentalize.
Yeah, I don't know how he fucking does that. That's amazing. Yeah. Because I don't have that in me. I'm more like, I'm not feeling good.
I gotta get in the zone, guys.
I gotta stop. I gotta eat a Popeyes chicken sandwich and see what happens. You know? But it's weird because people do ask, how do you balance this out? And it's hard to say, because when I first started off in specifically the YouTube space, I had to force creativity all the time, specifically because I was always scared that if I don't create something, I'm going to disappear, which that fear is still there. And that truth is still there, specifically in the way content is consumed now.
For sure.
If you're not always doing something, you're not on somebody's platform, you're not working, and people don't see your face, they forget about you that very fucking next day. And the only drive that I have now is to make sure that not so much that people will remember me, is that I hate seeing other Asian comics that are fucking trash that are doing well. I fucking hate it. I absolutely fucking hate it, man. Yeah. And they're recycling all these old jokes that I've made. Like I just literally go online and I see these jokes. It's like, that was literally word for word a joke that I made, and then the fucking video goes viral. And I'm like, it's not the fuck. Or I'll see something that Bart and Joe did. Yeah. And then these other, obviously these Asian kids grew up watching me, Bart and Joe, their whole lives, and they're recycling our jokes, but they're putting it in TikTok form or some shit. And I'm like, the fuck is this?
Different platform.
I'm like, fuck these kids, dude. But I understand that. Like for them, I get it, because it's like, if we were influencing their life, it's gonna happen. Just at least change it up a little bit. Take the influence. Don't take the fucking jokes. You know? But
so, like, for you then, if there's that worry of, like that creativity well running dry, right? What would you kind of shift into then? If let's say hypothetically,
prostitution, dude. I suck some dick, dude. I'm fucking good at that shit.
Because I'm sure you've had those moments where you think about that. It's like, if this path doesn't continue to be a clear path for me, like, what do I transition into from there?
Shit, I don't even know. I've never really thought about that. Like obviously I opened up a bunch of businesses, so that's always going to be the fail safe, right? And the only reason why I thought about doing that was because I like food. Yeah. But even that was driven by an artistry thing. I don't know the business side. That's why I have business partners that they own way more than I do, because I'm just there for the branding side, dealing with the food part, and that's really about it. That's what I'm good at. Yeah. But I don't know, there was a time too when somebody even asked me, what would happen if, when you were doing YouTube and YouTube the next day was shut down, what would you be doing? I don't fucking know. It wouldn't be my whole world though, because I've seen these funny ass clips. It's like these 14-year-olds or 15-year-olds, their account got banned and they do a whole YouTube video bawling their eyes out like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. Like, you little bitch, shut the fuck up. Well, that's the weird, I always want people to understand this too. If you are your career is not your life. It's not. It's always going to be. You have any idea how many times people have changed their careers in their lifespan? Yeah. If your whole life is based on your work, you're going to be fucked when work is over, especially when it comes to a time when you have to retire. Well, not even have to, when you choose to retire. Yeah. Well, you're not that cool thing. When you're not that pretty little thing out there. Well, you're not the funniest person out there. That's a scary, scary thought for people, because they don't even see that. They make their career their whole life, and that's all they see. Yeah. They make public perception their whole life. They make popularity a factor in how happy they are. And when all that stuff is taken away, they don't know what to do. Yeah. When I see these videos of some younger people, and not even younger people, I'm talking kids in their 20s, they get banned from a certain platform because they did a little too much, trying to get views, and they start breaking down and crying. They go, what am I going to do? What's life? It's like, bitch, move on.
It's because, we're in a kind of a time and culture where these kids place value in things that are so superficial and that are so temporary, Look at Twitter, for example. Twitter is the worst example of it all. Sometimes I go on Twitter and I follow specific people because I want to see what kind of bullshit somebody's going to complain about today, right? And there is this toxic relationship that a lot of people have on Twitter and social media platforms. It's like, what kind of extra woke, stupid shit am I going to talk about today just so I get an extra heart? Yeah. Right? They're like, let's normalize this. They say these things not because they believe it. They say it because they know that the general crowd is going to back them. And the more hearts that they get on this fucking tweet is going to make them feel like they're an important person. Yeah. And that's why a lot of this activism online is a bunch of bullshit, because none of you are out there actually doing stuff unless there was a camera, unless there was a post to say that you're a fucking great human being, and it has to do with virtue signaling. And so that's why even now, like, for example, let's just talk about this, right? There's this dude named recently that happened. His name is Jacob Blake.
right? He was shot 7 times in the back.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of things that came out. They go, oh, he was I don't know. I mean, I read somewhere that they were saying that he had priors or whatever, but which is always besides the point. Right, people love to bring that shit up, right? He was breaking up a fight with these 2 women. Cops got involved and they were tussling around. And so with the blurry footage, cell phone footage, they said that he was wrestling the cops. To me, I don't know. It looked like he was breaking up that fight, and then the cops got involved and they were all just kind of wrestling together, and he got up, went outside, and supposedly he opened up the door and the cops were quote unquote trying to stop him, which they weren't. They just
stop him with bullets.
Exactly. So they just drew guns, and he was walking back to his car very slowly. It wasn't like he was running towards it, like he was going to grab for something, and they had ample enough time to stop him, tackle him, take him down, arrest him or something. But instead, what they did was he walked to his door, they grabbed at his tank top, and they shot him in the back 7 times. Yeah. And now he's alive, but he's paralyzed. So, with this type of stuff, this is arguably just as terrible as George Floyd's situation, right? And when the BLM movement started happening because of the George Floyd situation. Yeah. And what I'm trying to say is that with this situation with this guy, Jacob Blake, you didn't even hear about it. Like, the social currency is gone. Yeah. People aren't getting their social currency from it. Yeah. And so they don't want to say anything, or either that or they're exhausted or tired. I understand, we all get emotionally exhausted when we continue to do these things because it's very difficult. But where's that same fucking energy? Is it because you don't see the million tweets? Is it because you don't see all of that stuff that you don't want to talk about this anymore? And that's the sad part. I don't want to hear shit from somebody who, like, for example, I fucking roasted this girl on Instagram because she was like, well, where are you at when it comes to all these Asian American issues? And I fucking roasted this girl. I was like, first of all, young bitch, you don't know me like that. Number 2, I am the last person you could ever say that to. You must not know who the fuck I am. And that's the funny thing too. It's like, for her, she wanted the virtue signaling thing of me calling out a social media quote unquote star, and I put him on blast. That's what she wanted from that conversation, which was so stupid, because if she did a little bit of research, she would know who the fuck I am. It's like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't think you understand in my case, and I'm not just tooting my own fucking horn. There's a lot of people who came before, a lot of these younger kids that were Asian Americans that stood up for shit before we even got praise for it. We didn't get praise for this shit. I had to get a bunch of these comments. Oh, why are you trying to act black? Why do you do all this other stuff? You don't get those comments, kids, because I was the one taking those bullets for you. So you don't get to say that shit to me. But the reason why she did that, and she didn't care to look up who I was, is because she wanted to be praised for calling somebody out. She didn't do that because she actually cared about the Asian American community. She did that shit because she wanted a pat on the fucking back. And I hate it. I fucking hate that shit. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's a tricky thing, man. I mean, like you said, the point you alluded to about people do anything for likes,
It's sad.
It is sad. It's fucking terrible. And it's no wonder why so many people get depressed. It's like you put your value in that, you put your self-worth in that, and you don't get what you're hoping for or expecting. And then as a result, you just feel obliterated and empty. It's like, why are you seeking value and worth in just this?
It's fleeting.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's so temporary and so quick, right? It's like a high. You know what I mean? It's like a fucking line of yay, man. You might be on cloud 9 for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but once that high dies down, you're going to need more.
And I'm going to start calling some of these other people on their bullshit too, because there's, certain people who were on this space before where they were very preachy about doing stuff for the art. And the next thing you know, they're complaining that they're not getting enough views. It's like, okay, those two things are very fucking separate. If you were just only doing this for the art, and by the way, I'm not like that either. I do it for, I only put up stuff if I personally find it funny or if it's a topic that I want to talk about. But there's a reason why it gets views. I understand these type of things, but I only do it to a certain extent. I'm not sitting here denying that when I first started out YouTube, I wasn't trying to find out what was going to pop off. Yeah. Like these topics that I was talking about, I was avidly thinking like, okay, what is going to be really funny? What do people want to hear? I was in that position before, but sometimes too, it's like they were the ones that were criticizing the youth about only doing things for likes when they're in that same group too. They just don't want to admit it. Right. you know, and it's dumb. Like, you can't criticize these young kids for stuff that you're still doing now.
Yeah.
You know, they chose not to evolve in this space.
Their shit don't smell. You know what I mean? That's the mentality.
It's sad.
Yeah.
You can't base your whole career off of what other people think. It goes absolutely nowhere. It's the same thought that I have about money now. There was a certain point when I was on YouTube and all I thought about was putting as much videos as I can, working as much just so I could stack all these chips and make a shit ton of fucking money. What did that do for me? It did absolutely nothing. I found out that number one, I didn't care about an absorbent amount of money. Number two, I understand. Listen, I'm not saying I don't like money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your boy likes money. Yeah, I mean, I like being comfortable. I like not worrying about my next paycheck. Yeah, I'm talking about the means beyond that, right? Fancy cars, the nicest shoes out there, the nicest clothes out there, flexing on grandma about the shit that I have. That's the type of stuff I could literally care less about. Yeah. And sometimes when I have conversations with friends who have a shit ton of money, that are like gajillionaires, and you know, they work really hard and they're trying to talk to me about material things, and I'm sitting there just dozing off because I don't fucking care. Yeah. It's like, yo, man, I just got this fucking McLaren, I got this and that. Yeah. It's like, it's fucking sick, right? And I look at them, I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'm not hating on your car, but you're talking about shit that I find absolutely no fucking value in. Yeah. You know, because there was a certain point when I made a lot of money, I bought a lot of dumb shit and it didn't fill anything for me. I was like, yo, I just wasted a lot of money.
But we had that conversation too. It's because, you know, your starting point though, you know, if you're coming from a financial background where you didn't have everything, or you didn't have a lot of things even of what you wanted, and then you got a little taste of money and kind of like that freedom to purchase these things that you weren't able to purchase before. I feel like everybody goes through that, you know? Yeah. And you're like, it's not because you're necessarily trying to flex. It's more like,
I'm gonna have everything that I want.
Yeah. Like, I worked this hard. This is something that I want and that I can realistically afford. I'm going to do this as a reward to myself, or reward for myself. But then, like you said, after you've kind of scratched that itch, it's just like, I mean, yeah, it was nice buying something for myself. It was nice having those nice things, but didn't change my life in any way.
I wish somebody would told me Jordan 1s were the most uncomfortable shoe ever. And them motherfuckers are the nicest looking kicks. Yeah, hands so down. Uncomfortable. But when you got like just regular size feet, if it's not like a skinny width, that shit, you wear that an hour and you're done. That's about it. I've seen people with the fattest feet wear Jordan 1s and they look like fucking what skate shoes after. Yeah. Because they got such fat feet. It's like, don't
stretches out the leather.
I'm like, bro, did you stuff socks in those? It's like, nah, man, that's just my regular Street Fighter feet. Fucking puzzle fighter ass Street Fighter feet and stuff. Fucking weird, man.
But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, materialism. I mean, to each their own, right? Some people get huge satisfaction from that, and they feel fantastic by buying themselves these nice things. I mean, people like you and I are not so much in that camp. Yeah. We're just kind of like I told you before, man. Like, for me, I get excited about going grocery shopping, filling up my fridge. You know, when I open my fridge and I have a full fridge, that shit makes me feel fulfilled. Yeah. Like, that shit makes me feel like full inside. Yeah. When I fill up a full tank of gas, same type of feeling, you know? Yeah. And so it's like, these are just basic things where I'm like, you know what? My basic needs are met and I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about if I got enough food in my fridge or if I got enough, you know, to eat and drink. I don't have to worry about, oh, can I afford a full tank of gas to get to where I need to get to, you know? Those basic things, man. I know it might sound like stupid, but that's just how I'm programmed. When I have those things, my basic needs being met like that, I just feel fulfilled, because there were times when things were a struggle, you know? Yeah. And so I appreciate that. I don't take it for granted. And then so when I am able to buy myself a nice thing, and I don't really buy things too much, but once in a while I want something. Like, for example, my most, I would say, big purchase that I've made in like the past year, electric scooter. I got it during last Black Friday. Yeah. And I got it for like $150. It was like a big sale. But did I need that? No, I didn't. But I rode the electric scooter enough to know that I enjoy it and I have fun with it. And I'm like, I got to pay $8-10 each time I ride this, like the Lyft scooters or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to buy it. And then I'll wear it out in like a year or two, but I'll get my money's worth. Yeah. You know? having the freedom and ability to do things like that also feels good. But if I didn't get that scooter, would it impact my life negatively? No. I wouldn't be like, oh man, I feel so empty now that I can't have, this thing that I want. It's like, nah, I got a full fridge and a full tank of gas, clothes on my back, roof over my head. I'm good, man.
Like, perspective is a huge thing. And I think sometimes people believe that money might change you, right? But I don't really believe that stuff. I think if you were a shit person to begin with, that's just who you are.
It
now you
just exaggerates that.
Now you could literally be an asshole and it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
You chose not to be even a bigger asshole because you were so fucking broke that you were worried, about your paycheck that was coming in. So you kind of kept your mouth shut. But now that you don't have to worry about that shit, the worst qualities about yourself that people can't check you on anymore, you're just saying whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people are finding out about, because Ellen, did you hear about Ellen just having Ellen has been getting a lot of fucking heat.
She's been taking a lot of heat, man.
And I personally didn't even know what that shit was about until recently, because everybody's been getting canceled, but then Ellen's been getting so much heat consistently. I started to, I got a little curious about what's going on, but there was a lot of sexual harassment allegations from her staff, specifically her producers, where they were, I guess one of them, I think it was a male producer, and I think he's LGBT, and he grabbed somebody's dick or something like that,
man,
or some bullshit. I'm like, yo, well, how the fuck do you get away with this stuff? You just walk up and just swipe a dick, and then all of a sudden,
hey there, buddy.
Like, how secure in your job do you have to be to come up, grab dick, and be like, I'm still gonna work tomorrow? Like, that's fucking nuts to me.
Or played off as a joke. I got you.
And there was like sexual advancements. I guess there was some intimidation tactics too. They would kind of treat interns very unfairly and kind of make them feel that they're gonna lose their job the next day, which isn't very great for company culture or morale.
For sure. And
I think her response was to, number one, obviously do a public apology saying like, this isn't what my company, I thought my company was about. And so she fired those 3 people within her company. And I think a lot of people started to feel that those are just scapegoats. Like you're kind of appeasing people, firing these human beings when you are responsible for your company.
Yeah. I mean, cause it kind of trickles from the top down, right? You can't say that you were completely oblivious to what was going on when it's your fucking show. And you're the boss, you know? Sure, you got people under you to take care of the day-to-day stuff, but to say I had no idea this type of stuff was going on, I think that's a little bit far-fetched, it's hard. I mean, definitely when your company grows, it's hard to kind of keep up with the day-to-day stuff, right? But when it's the whole company as a whole, they feel this way, like a majority of the employees, and like how distant are you from your company where you can also put out a statement and say that my goal in this company was to make sure this was a positive environment. Well, how the fuck can you say that when you're not involved in anything? Exactly.
And it's been going on for quite a while, apparently.
So. Well, and then she's also been getting heat like herself, right? Kind of her behavior and
what'd they say about that?
Just that she's not a nice person, that she's done a lot of a lot of mean things to people, and it kind of goes against the whole TV image and persona that they've built her as, right? This fun-loving, generous, very approachable type personality in person, yet she's very I guess I don't know what the word for it would be. I don't want to say evil, but definitely just not a nice person, man.
I mean, that's also the public's fault too, because it's weird when sometimes people see this persona and they go and they meet that person and they say, well, you're not like how you are on TV. It's like, I mean, I say this consistently. Some of the most likable people you'll meet out there are some of the most worst human beings you'll ever get to know. Because likability doesn't mean that you're a good human being.
No.
And there's a huge distinction, and people don't understand that. There's people who are likable because they're snakes, they're fucking foxes, and they do that because they want to get something out of you. They know that. They understand that if they're cordial with you, that they can receive something out of this relationship. Those are likable human beings. They understand social context. They understand how to make you feel good. However, that doesn't mean that you're a good person.
Right.
Completely different. And that's the case for Ellen. You see this online persona and then you find out something else about them. It's like, well, you don't fucking know her personally. She could be a terrible person. Why even be shocked by that?
Exactly. And that's the difference, is that a public persona doesn't mean it's a private persona, you know? And like, I think a lot of times people mistaken what they're seeing as, oh, that's who they are as a person. That's who I know this person. And like you said, no, a lot of times you don't know shit.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
You absolutely
do not know
don't.
Shit.
I think it's funny. Mariel's best friend said that she kind of figured how different people can be on and off camera when she met me. Because when she found out that Mariel was going to date me, she assumed that I was going to be this super loud, obnoxious guy.
Yeah.
She's like, you're actually very, very sweet. I was like, yeah, of course. Like, this is. You think
of course I am, bitch.
Yeah. What do you say, that skank? No, it's not. And I understand.
Yeah.
Because it happens a lot too sometimes with these fan interactions, and this is very few and far between, and people like these terrible fan meetup stories, but I'll give you one for an example. There was a kid who I don't know if it's because, actually I do know, it's because he sees these rant videos, right? And I'm just hyper opinionated about stuff, and it's in this 3 to 4 minute clip, and during that time on YouTube, people had a very short attention span for content, so it was old stand-up that I would do, and I would chop it up or whatever. And so I'm sitting there, and I remember meeting this dude up. He was out of college, and this guy is just screaming nonstop, just like, "Yo, man, yeah, man, I fucking feel you with that." She's screaming, and you could tell when somebody says something that it's really not them. You know, they're putting up this persona to either appease you or kind of mirror your behaviors.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him. I was like, "Hey, why are you screaming so much?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Man, you scream too." I was like, "Yeah, in videos, bitch. Why are you screaming at me right now?"
I don't talk like this on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
you know?
and I'm just sitting there, just really awkward interaction.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh man, like I was just trying to be like you, man. Like I want to be you." I was like, "If you want to be me, shut the fuck up. Like
Just relax.
Those are comedy videos. They're in that 3 minute space where I chop up a bunch of jokes. You're having a conversation with me as a human being, and trust me, I know what it's like to freak out when you meet somebody that you enjoy. I'm not saying that doesn't happen to me. Like when I've met people that I liked, and I talked about the story where I met Tatiana Ali for the first time. I held her hand for like a solid minute, and I didn't let go because I freaked the fuck out. I freaked out. I didn't know what to do. It was at this club event, and it was super dark, and I didn't know who she was. And then my buddy introduced me to her, and I was like, "Yo, this is Tatiana," and I held her hand. I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you." And I looked at her, and I froze. I fucking froze, and I held her hand, and she was just smiling, still holding my hand, and then kind of I was like, "Hey, nice to meet," and I just kind of looked at her just with my mouth open.
Yeah. You got shook.
I got shook. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like I'm shaking the hands of Tatiana Ali.
Yeah.
You have any idea how many times I've masturbated to you?
that exact hand that you're holding right now.
This exact hand, I have masturbated to you so much, and she shook my hand, and I just couldn't believe it. So I understand what it's like to meet, you know, somebody that you enjoy, or meet somebody you enjoyed watching. So I'm not any better. But fuck, man, like just screaming in my face for like a solid minute was. What did you expect? How was I supposed to feel? You know.
Well, that's when you fail to kind of be self-aware.
Yeah.
It's like,
I was there.
Yeah, it's like people don't talk like that, bro, in real life. Come on, man.
And if
like,
they do, they're fucking psychotic.
Yeah, who just yells nonstop in a normal conversation?
Yeah.
And trying to, you know, talk about normal things.
It's dropping fucking F. I mean, I curse a lot too, but he was just, I think he said fuck 30 times in a 10-second span. I'm just like, God, man, what's going on? I just felt so uncomfortable. I thought he was gonna kill me.
It's like, hey, buddy, I don't really like your nervous energy right now. It's making me nervous. I'm gonna have to put you down if you keep this up, you know.
Fucking Ellen DeGeneres though, like when I look at that situation and I hear about all these terrible stories, you know, first of all the work culture, which is terrible, and I'm pretty sure there's a ton of people out there who's had a terrible work culture, and if that's the case, it doesn't make you spend so much of your time at work, and if you have to walk into that situation every day, I would just fucking leave. And I think there was a story that I read where there was some issues, like race issues, and she decided just to leave work. She decided just to quit her job on the spot, which is terrible. And I'm not saying that she has to know everything about the day-to-day about her company, but if there's a lot of people coming out talking about, like you said, her behavior and how mean and intimidating she is, I guess, when you said that, I kind of remember, I guess like somebody mentioned that something. I mean, I think she denied it though. She said that people aren't allowed to look at her in the eye or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they can't look at her in the eye or something. And she said that's the most ridiculous thing that she's ever heard. But I don't know. That's kind of specific.
Hey, man, some of these celebrities, bro, they're on some weird shit, man. They're on some other shit, you know? I wouldn't put it past them because their life is so far from reality.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's so far from reality. And what that does to one's psyche and their perspective on the world, I could only imagine. You know what I mean? Like, you pretty much have all the no's in the world turn into yeses. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you cannot do. There's nothing you cannot get, you know? There's no man or woman you cannot lay with, whatever your preference is, you know? So when you have that, I mean, imagine how much that warps just kind of your perspective on life and reality in general, you know? So
have you ever had like a shit boss?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, I'm always a very vocal person, and I don't shy away.
Fuck you, bitch.
I don't shy away from confrontation. Mm-hmm. So I've definitely got into it, you know, with the higher ups. But it's never a thing of like, it's just me being disrespectful. Like, nah, I'm not going to do what you're asking me to do. It's not that type of shit. It has to like violate my values or on some level where I deeply disagree with what's being said or what's being done or a mixture of both. And then I'll say my piece with it. And I don't mind, or I never minded risking losing my job over it. Yeah. Like, if that's the case, then so be it. My whole thing is I'm talking about this not only for myself, but for everybody else here to just make sure that this workplace is a healthy, like, a healthy work culture and a healthy environment for all the employees. So yeah, I've plenty of times where, you know, bump heads, and then shit. One time, man, I almost got into like a fist fight with a manager in the middle in the middle of the office. Yeah, because
what do you do?
We got into it. Was a dude. Yeah, we got into it, and then he started saying some things that were more personal attacks. And
like what?
I don't remember exactly, but he
fuck your mom.
Yeah,
like, hold on, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
The hell?
Well, not that per se, but something along those lines, like something that would be more of a personal attack than it just remaining work and business. And I was getting like extremely angry, and I was like, "Oh, if this motherfucker keeps at this level, I'm gonna bank this motherfucker right now." But it didn't get there. But yeah, I mean, it's that's, like I said, I don't shy from confrontation. So if somebody is stepping on my toes,
I've only had one bad boss.
Oh really?
And the worst fucking human being ever, dude. And I called her mom. That bitch was ass.
Why do you call her mom?
Because it was my actual mom. She would boss me around. She would say some personally offensive shit. She would follow me to my house and then yell at me in my house too. Fuck that lady.
There's no such thing as HR with that shit, bro.
I didn't have HR. You know what HR was? Like, my mom would wear a hat, and then she goes, "You want to talk to HR?" Then she turn her hat backwards. She goes, "Welcome to HR, bitch."
Nobody gives a fuck about what you think.
Dog, I used to hate working at my parents' store all the time. I had to work at my parents' store like Fridays and Saturdays, which is the days you're supposed to have fucking fun.
Right.
And my brother never really had to work at the store because he was the golden child. So my parents always
he's the firstborn. So
yeah, fuck that shit. All right. I had to work at the store all the fucking time. And I just remember, one time I brought it up, and my mom was like, because my brother was in a lot of after school programs, which he really fucking wasn't. Because I had some after school programs that I wasn't allowed to go to, but I had to go work at the store. And I told my mom, I'm like, "Hey, how come my brother's not here? Why am I always working?" Right? And then she looks at me and she literally says this. She goes, "It's because you're dumb."
Oh man, you're not special, David. Don't you know?
She goes, your brother's over here studying and stuff. All you do is get in fights. You're dumb. What do you need to go to school for on the week? I'm like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up, man.
Oh man, that's hilarious. But no, I feel you on that, because like, you know, sometimes on weekends too, you know, I'd go help my pops at the store, and like one time, he was in a place in Compton, and it would be so funny because like you see the same dudes come in throughout the day, but they're progressively getting more and more drunk. So it's the weekend, so they're like, hey, it's time for some fucking Modelo Negro, it's time for some cervezas. And then they start maybe at like 12 p.m. and then they come back in at like 3. And then they're like, a little bit red. And then they come back in at 5. They're more red. And then like they come back in at 7. And by then they're just slurring their words. And I'm like, damn, dude, how many guys are at your fucking place? Because each time they come, they're buying like a 24 pack, a 36 pack. And I'm like, you are coming back pretty fucking often. So you see like all these different types of characters who have their vices. There was this old man who used to come in every 3 hours to buy scratchers.
God damn.
Yeah, he was super addicted to it. Hey, young man. Yeah, he would win sometimes, of course. But he was very nice, so I didn't really like look at it like, oh, look at this fucking degenerate. Hey, young man, let me get a few of those.
I got so many stories about the most funniest customers. There was this dude that used to come in all the time, and when I say this, he was like a crackhead, blind cartoon character. It's hard to describe. Okay, this is what he looked like.
Yeah.
Number one, I've never seen him not wear overalls.
Okay.
Always wore overalls.
Yeah.
Sometimes a t-shirt under there, sometimes not. Summertime, no t-shirt under his overalls. Not sure he had underwear on him. But he would always have a fucking stick and a bag tied at the end of it, like a hobo, like a hobo cartoon character.
What the fuck?
He had a glass eye, and I think it's because either it was glass eye or he had glaucoma, but it was like that milky eye. He would come in and his tongue was all fucked up. So I don't know what it was. I think it's because he would like chew on his tongue when he was like cracked the fuck out. So he would fuck up his voice and he was standing like this. So you was standing like this. And so my dad never had any problems with people coming into the store, even if they were cracked out or whatever. As long as they weren't going to steal shit, he was fine, right? Yeah. So this dude comes in and he had his hobo stick with the little bag tied at the end of it. I'm gonna just say it's red just because I think it's cute. Let's say like a little red bag tied at the end of it. And he comes in and my dad stops him and he tells him, "Hey, you can't come into the store with a stick." He goes, "Why can't I come in?" He goes, "What? Because I'm black." He's like, you tell me I can't come in because I'm black. He started making it, and my dad's like, everybody's black in here. This is a black beauty supply store, He goes, "Oh, so you gonna call the police? I'll do it for you." Opens up the door, and he just goes, "Police! Police! There's a black man in this store!" Just freaking the fuck out. I'm not even exaggerating. This is legit what happened. And he did this a couple of times, but he was just cracked the fuck out. One time, I shit you fucking not, where, Daniel, this is a fucking funny memory, by the way. It was in summer. I remember it was hot as shit, and I already saw him at the McDonald's across the street that just opened up at the time. He walked in a trench coat. He hid a large McDonald's drink in the sleeve, and I'm there ordering my food, and I see the dude in his overalls with the fucking it's like that greenish brown color, this trench coat. It's 100-something degrees in Sacramento. Puts the cup in the sleeve that he took out of the garbage can outside. Just walks in. Good morning. Fills up his drink as if he bought a drink as a refill. And the workers are looking at him, but they just don't want to deal with the shit. And he gets the drink and he walks outside. Right? So I already saw him there. And then when I'm walking on the way back with the McDonald's that I have, there's this box. The Filet-O-Fish box, right? Yeah. It's open and there's like a half-eaten Filet-O-Fish in there. And I'm about to walk inside to the store and there's a car about to park. Yeah. The fucking crackhead that was at the McDonald's was obviously walked back towards this area because this is where he kicks it. This fool runs up to the car. He goes, "Stop!" Before the car comes in, he grabs the fucking Filet-O-Fish off the floor and starts eating it and just walks off. He goes, "Stop!" Picks it up, starts eating it. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on with this dude? Man. That dude was nuts. He would habitually on the weekends in blazing hot Sacramento. Sacramento gets like 110 degrees, 102, 103 pretty regularly during the summer. For about a couple of weeks. It's pretty consistent. He would sit cross-legged like this, put his hands on his knees, sit at the edge of the street, and just start rocking back and forth like this. rocking back and forth for fucking hours.
Clearly, this dude, didn't have all his marbles, man. Double whammy, getting his brain fried from crack or acid and from the weather. You know?
Whatever the drug is that makes you all fucking crazy, but he just rocking back and forth. Yeah. Hey, what's up, young blood? What you doing, young blood? He used to always say that shit.
How old was this dude?
He was older for sure.
Okay, like 50 plus.
Definitely 50 plus. I'm not even sure if he was like if he was homeless or not, because he would have a new changes of clothes and he didn't really smell. So I don't think he was homeless. I think he lived with somebody or he lived in some type of crack house.
He was just a crackhead.
He was just a crackhead, just cracked the fuck out. Police, stop young blood.
Yeah, speaking of crackheads, man, this is pretty sad when I saw it. You remember the rapper Nocturnal?
Yeah.
Remember when he had like a good buzz going? You know, he was fucking with like Missy Elliott, with Dre, you know?
Yeah.
How about I see this dude at a fucking Quiznos, man? With it would seem like his grandma or something, and the grandma was buying him food, but this dude was like fucking skinny. And like I wouldn't really have recognized him if I wasn't into like, you know, hip hop so much. You know what? Cave might have been with me that day, you know? Is that fucking Nocturnal? It's like, yeah, I think that's fucking Nocturnal. I guess he just got fucking cracked out. And that's why his music career fell off. Like,
drugs.
Yeah, I looked into it afterwards, you know? And yeah, it was the drugs. Like, and that's why he fell off. And I'm like, dude, what a fucking shame, man. You had every opportunity to be like that dude in the West Coast. Yeah. Everybody was co-signing, you know? And then he just got heavy into that crack, man. And then now his grandma's buying him Quiznos.
That's fucking nuts. Yeah. And Quiznos is the worst. If Quiznos came up to me and was like, hey, I want to sponsor you, I'd be like, absolutely not.
Thank you.
I hate your sandwiches. Fuck that place, man.
I like their chicken mesquite, though, with
bacon.
Let
me tell you something about Quiznos. Quiznos is one of those people, you think you're so much better than Subway. You're the same shit. That's what I like about Subway. Subway doesn't pretend to be something that they're not. Yeah. Quiznos is like, well, you can get it toasted. Yeah. Bitch, you still Subway. You're another version of Subway.
You know what I fuck with though? Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's is different. Yeah. Jersey Mike's, first of all, Jersey Mike's has a sandwich, right? It's their it has all the meats, like roast beef, turkey, but also has bacon inside it. Yeah. I don't know which one that shit is, but I got that shit so much. It's so good.
Yeah, Jersey Mike's is legit.
And they add their little jardiniere in it too.
Yeah, olive oil. And
you probably eat like a quarter of a sandwich, just little tiny ass. I ate that whole sub.
Large sub.
And I got a large Mrs. Vicks salt and vinegar chips with that and a large drink.
Oh my God.
Delicious.
It is. I just got some Jersey Mike's the other day. Hey, shout out to Jersey Mike's, sponsor the boy,
Jersey
right?
Mike's, if you want to sponsor this podcast, I will do the best ad for you, hands down, and we will get everybody to get a Jersey Mike's sub, specifically the sandwich that I get. It's so good. It's really good.
Yeah. Now, I actually held off on trying Jersey Mike's for the longest time.
Why?
I just didn't think it was going to be good. I don't know why.
Oh, it's delicious.
Yeah, it is delicious. I tried it actually for the first time this year. Or no, late last year.
Oh, you missed out.
Yeah, I have been missing out. I realized my mistake when I took a bite into
You ever eat at Arby's before?
Yeah.
I've never had an Arby's sandwich before.
Well, you're not missing out on
much. Okay. Because there's this Arby's in Sacramento that's it's like on Florin Road. It's like kind of like a hood ass area.
Yeah.
And it just looks like shit.
It does look like shit, but you know what? I ate that when I was a kid. So that's why I still have kind of
nostalgia, huh?
Yeah, that nostalgic factor there. Their curly fries are legit though, because it's seasoned curly fries.
They were rated like the best fries you could get.
Yeah, that shit's legit. Their roast beef though, more like roadkill, you know?
Oh, really? Oh, damn, see?
Yeah. It ain't, I don't know what the fuck kind of roast beef they're using for that, but I loaded up with the Arby's sauce, and then that's pretty much what I taste.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that shit though.
Yeah. I don't think too many people are like, yo, I need some Arby's right now.
I know one dude, this dude named Alex, he comes on this podcast every night. Alex he fucks with Arby's. He goes, Arby's is fucking fire. I'm like, no, dog, you are trash.
I've never heard anybody say is fire.
Well, that's what that fool says. I'm telling you something, his fucking taste buds.
No, I got a homie who hates on Arby's like crazy. He calls it Garbies because he says garbage.
That's fucking funny.
I always hype it up to him though. I always say, yo, Arby's is my shit though. It's so fucking, because it gets him so worked up because he hates it so much, but I I don't really fuck with Arby's like that.
I can't eat. I don't know. I've never ever looked at an Arby's and say I wanted to eat there.
All right, you know what? Me and you, we're gonna get some Arby's.
Maybe, man. If I throw up, I throw up. It's like fucking Yoshinoya in the States.
Yeah, right?
Yoshinoya in the States is disgusting.
I know, man.
It's so disgusting.
Japan on a worse day for their Yoshinoya is infinitely better than America in its best day.
It's so good. It's so good out there.
Yeah. Sukiya beef bowl, Yoshinoya, and then the one that starts with the M. What is it? Matsuya or
something like that. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, it's a chain. It's really
that's the only one I didn't try. But I actually like Sukiya's beef bowl the best. That shit. Every time I go to Japan, I only eat one meal because I'm trying to try like as many different meals as possible. But that I will always get at least twice before I leave. Yeah.
I just do beef bowls myself now. That it's pretty easy.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's super easy. You could make gyudon in like fucking 5 minutes. It's
really
that easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to teach me the recipe then.
You'll make it so fast, and you could do your own variations on it, however you like it.
Yeah.
And I just put like right before I cover it up, I throw one little egg and it poaches in there, and then just put it on top.
The beef is as tender though.
Yeah, for sure. You just have to, however long you cook it is going to be how tender it's going to be.
Okay.
But if you get ribeye, and then it's super thinly cut, like in the Korean supermarkets, it's already tender as fuck.
Oh, so you're basically using like the shabu meat.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Because that's what they're doing. It's just we're not butchers, so we're not going to slice it up.
True.
Just go to the Korean market, get that shit, and then you make the sauce, which is just it's dashi, sugar, mirin, soy sauce, and that's it. That's all that.
No ginger for you.
Oh, ginger! If you want ginger, garlic, sake, whatever you want. You know? And then after that, you're pretty much good to go.
Yeah. Oh, I hate ginger. That was a trick question.
You hate ginger?
Yeah.
You don't like ginger?
I fucking hate ginger, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I do not like it, man.
It's so good, like in like meat, like ginger and garlic.
Yeah. No, I hate ginger, dude.
You're trash, dude. You're fucking cynic, dude. What do you mean you don't like a Korean person doesn't like ginger?
I know,
I've never heard that in my life.
So like even in kimchi, when there's a piece of ginger and I taste it, I'm like, fuck, man. Like it ruins my mood.
You know why you don't like it? Because of the fucking hanyak. Because there's a shit ton of ginger in hanyak.
True. Yeah. So what he's talking about, I was just talking to him about this before the podcast. It's this herbal medicine, and it's like Asians fucking swear to God this is like a drink of the gods. You know, if you drink this thing, you're gonna be healthy. You're not ever gonna get any like colds or diseases. Like you become superhuman. So my parents used to fucking try to force feed me this shit, and I got so traumatized from it. Like even the smell of it would get me to yak. So I yacked all the time on this shit. You know, every time. And then it's like, they know I'm gonna fucking yak, but then they still get it again. And I'm like, why the fuck do you keep trying to force me to eat? Because you gotta grow more, you gotta eat more. I'm like, I'll do that. You know?
It's like the worst herbal medicine on earth. Sometimes, but tree bark is in there, deer antler, like maggot butthole. Yeah. There's some weird fucking ingredients, and it's specifically Eastern medicine that, I mean, people swear by it. I mean, there is definitely stuff in there that's used in traditional medicine.
Yeah.
Right? But this is like the raw form of it.
Dude.
And they boil it down.
Yeah. It's black on top of that. That makes it the worst, right?
It looks like swamp water.
Yeah. And the smell of it, oh my God. It
stinks up the whole house.
Yeah. The smell, the taste, it's fucking bitter, you know? Oh God, man. And one time I told him this too, like I ate a meal and I went to somebody's house who was like grown these type of herbs. As soon as I smelled it, I just yacked on their fucking sidewalk. You know, I was like,
we were talking about this. I had that thing where if I see somebody throw up, I throw up immediately. If you throw up in front of me, I'm going to throw up in your mouth. I was telling this. So in Sacramento, there's this joint called JJ North, and it was sounds like a porn star's name. It was this buffet spot called JJ North. People in Sacramento know what's up. That they used to be the dopest buffet spot before all the Asian buffets were there and before Hometown Buffet was there. And that was a spot that my parents would always take us on a Sunday, or it would be like a special meal. Right. And so we were there. And I remember one time as we were walking out and we were done eating and I just stuffed myself with all that fried chicken and goodness. This kid throws up in front of me and I look at him and I throw up in front of him. And so we just yak in front of each other. And then somebody else behind us saw us yak and that dude yacked too. So there was just
a yak party.
So everybody threw up at the same time in that restaurant. I still remember what my dad said. This fool didn't even feel apologetic. Yeah. He just looks at me. He goes, looks at everybody else. He goes, my son is a crazy. And he just grabs me and then takes me out. Like I fucked up. Like I did something terrible. It's like I threw up because he threw up. I didn't. What the hell?
Oh man, like I don't know. It's something about like other people with sensitive gag reflexes and like who throw up. It just cracks me up, man. I don't know. It just tickles my funny bone, man.
Doc, have you ever seen somebody throw up and have it come out their nose? It's disgusting.
I don't know if I've ever seen somebody that close while they're throwing up.
I was holding up the one of my homegirls' head when she was throwing up, and she was in the bathroom, and I had to hold her fucking hair because all her other girlfriends were fucking wasted. It was disgusting. She started. I won't say her name; she'll get mad. But she started throwing up, and when she was throwing up, she coughed or sneezed, and she went, and then it just fucking shot out her nose. Oh, disgusting, dude. That is
fucking disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you a disgusting fucking story. Yeah. Drinking involved. Paul is involved, right? And I won't name the dude who got fucked up, but he basically challenged Paul. I think it was like the first time he met Paul.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, terrible. I told him. I said, don't do it. You're going to fucking regret it. And he's like, no, I'm going to go shot for shot with him. All right.
Do I know this guy?
Yeah. I'll tell you who it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who the fuck would challenge Paul to a drinking contest?
And I was like, that's your fucking grave. You're digging your own grave right now. And he's like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. I was like, all right. So long story short, of course, he gets fucked up, blacked out, right? And Paul's fine. And then he's like, I'm like, oh shit, this was gonna yak, right? So we're trying to fucking get him to the bathroom. And then, mind you, this is a fucking K-Town bar. You know what the men's bathroom is like at a K-Town? Absolutely fucking disgusting. Yak stains, diarrhea stains, pee stains all over the fucking toilet. And it smells exactly like those things I'm describing, right? He gets to the toilet, he puts his hand on the fucking toilet and he's yakking in it, right? I'm like, oh, and I'm trying to help him out. But I'm like, oh, don't do that though, bro. Come on, man. Like, and then he puts his arms around.
What the
I'm like,
fuck?
Oh God, dude.
He does the forearm resting.
Yeah, the forearm resting on it.
How much did he drink?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's like something that wouldn't even faze Paul. You know what I mean? But Paul's something's wrong with that guy.
Paul drinks a lot.
Yeah, that guy's I've never seen anything like it.
I've seen Paul. Paul once came over to our apartment, the K-Town one, and he drank we had Sky vodka for some odd reason. We drank half of that shit. No, first he drank, so I'm not sure if you were there, but we had a bottle of Jameson. He and I just drank it together. Cause Paul and I, we're like really close friends. He's like one of my closest friends. Yeah. We're talking, we're chopping it up. I don't know how much I'm drinking. And next thing you know, the whole bottle is gone. Yeah. And I just remember realizing, yo, we drank this whole bottle. And then boom, it hit me. Yeah. From what I was told, I was as drunk and I grabbed a djembe, the African drum, and I was just playing that shit, wasted as fuck, trying to sing R&B music with a djembe drum. And then they helped me to my room, and then I fucking yacked in there. Yeah. I didn't know after that, Paul drank with everybody else in the house with this bottle, a huge bottle of Sky vodka. Yeah. And everybody got smashed, and then Paul was fine. He was just awake by himself.
No, you don't remember that one time when it was his birthday, and then we were drinking in K-Town, and then we went back to your place, and then drank more, and Paul was like fucked up. Like he was basically stumbling and like hugging everybody.
Was that girl they don't know who he is. Was that girl Daniela there too?
Yeah.
I remember that day. Yeah.
And then so that's the first time I've seen Paul get that drunk before, where he stumped. But he had an insane amount of alcohol that night, right? And then we go to McDonald's afterwards, right? Now he's stumbling walking into the McDonald's. After he has now, first of all, not only does he drink an insane amount of alcohol, he eats an insane amount.
Yes, he does. I think
he had like 3 value meals for a meal. He eats that, walks out completely normal. Hey, I'm fine now. Let's go drink some. Like, what the fuck kind of human being are you?
I remember this shit because it was like 3 a.m.
It was like 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, damn! All those memories are starting to flood back. So back in the day, right? Yeah. So this is before Now, these are just facts. This is just before a bunch of white people started coming to fucking K-Town.
Yeah.
We used to have a lot of these underground drinking spots. So they would be open until the next morning.
Yeah, pretty much.
And this is the shit that me, Edric, and Paul, we used to always go to these spots.
Yeah.
And you would only be allowed in if you knew somebody who knew the spot. Yeah. But then fucking all these white bloggers were blogging about it on Tumblr and shit. And all of a sudden, all these businesses started closing.
Yeah.
So these were like these underground speakeasies because in LA, 2 a.m. is when you can't serve any more alcohol.
Yeah.
But we would be up until 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. So we would go to these speakeasy spots. But we would drink non-stop.
Oh, like those places would be crazy because like some of those places are just what you see in like the movies. You go in, knock, and then they open the door. And then they close it, and then you gotta be. You're going into a place where it looks completely empty, right? It's just an empty parking lot. All the lights are off, so you think it's closed, and then you just gotta know. You just gotta be with it. And then you go in, and it's like another life. Jam-packed music blasting. It's like, where the fuck did all these
still popping off? And everybody was Korean in there.
Yep.
It was only Korean people.
Yep.
And then they kind of fucked up when they started letting white people in there, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, dude. The white people fucked it up for everybody.
No, they really did though. I remember there was. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but I only know what it looks like if I see it at night because that's the only time you would see it. But there was graffiti on the wall and everything, and then that was a spot with the little sliding door, and they would let you in.
Yeah.
But that was a spot that me and Paul used to always fucking go to, but it's not there anymore. They shut it down.
Yeah.
So sad, dude.
Yeah, I mean, but anytime you agree to have a drink with Paul, high chance that he just means chill. Yeah. He's gonna chill, but it might be an ordeal in a hurry, you know?
100%. Were you there for my birthday when we went to Lock and Key? And we drank?
Yeah,
That's right, you were there.
Yeah, I was there, yeah.
I remember there was a couple of YouTubers that I really don't like that was there. And I think like their birthday or something was like there along the same lines. But very vocal that I don't like these human beings. But one of them came up to me and they was like, "Hey man, I just want to say like, yeah, I appreciate you. Like, I love what you're doing." And I was and normal Dave, I was smashed at this point. I know. And when I'm drunk, they always say that when you drink, your true personality comes out. I'm the nicest drunk person you will ever fucking.
You are a fucking love bug. This guy likes to hug people. He likes to like laugh and smile and like he gets very touchy feely. You know.
I am the nicest person ever. So that's like who I truly am. Yeah. Even these people, I hate their fucking guts. Yeah. Guy came up to me as I just want to say like, I respect you. He's being super cordial. And I never looked at him. I was like, "It's okay, little buddy." And his hair was all nicely done. I put my head in his head. I scruffed up his head. I spun him around. I slapped him in the ass. I told him to get the fuck out of here.
He's probably like, "Wait, what the fuck just happened right now?"
Like, "It's okay, little buddy." And then I forgot. I think Paul told me too that the other guy. I called him. I was like, "Hey man, you're doing a good job." I was like, "Keep doing what you're doing." And I was like, "I said that to him? I must have been drunk for sure because I fucking hate their guts. But when I'm drunk, I'm super fucking nice."
I remember that.
Oh, that same night, Kay was going out with that one really weird ass girl.
Oh yeah, that's right,
dog. So Khalif was going out with this one girl at the time. I only met her a couple of times, but you know when you look at somebody and you look into the deep recesses of their soul, you're like, this person is nuts. So when you go into this establishment, Lock and Key, it's a speakeasy, and you have to find the specific doorknob that opens up the door. And if you go there, you know what's up. Yeah. I come out. I don't even know who this girl is, and I see this girl just dancing all up on the walls, touching every single knob, doing like this weird. She started fucking striking a pose, like doing voguing. And I'm like, yo, who the fuck is this crazy ass woman? Yeah. She's doing crazy shit. Yeah. And I'm staring at her and I'm drunk. Yeah. And I remember this. And then I just remember Cleo was like, "Oh yeah, that's my girl." And I'm like, he looked so embarrassed. He looked embarrassed because she was being super weird. And I guess she does that in social settings where she acts super like extra. And I was like, yo, I don't fucking like this girl. And I found out that it was like the girl that he was talking to. I was like, okay, you fucked up, bro.
It's like, hey, bro, let me tell you, man. I take one look at those eyes, man.
I know. There was a demon inside that shit. It's hard though. I don't even know how to approach a girl when one of your friends, when your friend goes out with somebody that you don't like. It's always a very awkward situation. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I just have to just deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, you have a private conversation with the friend when the time is right. You know what I mean? Like,
you really love her? Yeah, fuck her. Huh?
Ooh, she's a crazy bitch, man. Let me tell you something.
And she turned out to be really crazy too. And we all called that shit. Yeah. She was nuts.
Yeah, you could. like literally see it in her eyes. Yeah, and it's hard to describe what it is, but something unnerving, you know? You kind of see it and you're like, ooh. You know, it's kind of one of those. Makes you shudder a little bit.
Because I like crazy people, but they're crazy insane. You know, they're crazy in terms of they don't give a fuck. And they're very honest, they're open, they say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
However, there's sanity in their eyes. You know what I mean? You could just tell this is just a part of their personality.
Yeah.
Great example is my buddy Joe. Joe's a crazy person, but he's fucking lovable as shit. I love that guy to death. But that motherfucker's a psychopath.
I mean, I don't even know Joe like that, but you know, the few interactions I had with him, the dude is so fucking random. It's hilarious, you know?
He's so fucking nuts, man. There's like this is funny story too when we were in Vegas. He's one of the most sporadic human beings I've ever met in my life. And you know, he's a very knowledgeable person too because of how he thinks. He's very calculated, but not at the same time.
Yeah.
But for example, we were in Vegas and I remember we were gambling and he was up a lot of fucking money. And I think he was down first and then he was up like $200, which is great because he was down a couple of grand or whatever. And then we were playing craps and all of a sudden I was like, Joe, you're up. I remember saying this to him, like, bro, you're up $200. You're good. He goes, that's right. No more. I'm good. I walk away from the table. All I hear from a distance is his voice going, 200! And he bets 200 and he loses all of it. This was fucking nuts, dude.
I mean, again, like, I don't know Joe personally, but that doesn't surprise me that he would do something like that.
Crazy dude. This guy owns like a 7-figure company, but then he comes on this podcast and talks about a story where he ate out a hooker.
Oh my God. Why would you do that?
Dog, he is the only human being that I know that would give service to somebody that he's supposed to get service for.
Oh, I mean, not only that, but dude, come on, man. Like, come on, man. How many dicks been in and out of that?
He doesn't care. He said he had this animal urge that he can't help but satisfy when it needs to happen. And then he ate out a hooker.
Oh, dude, that's foul, man.
That's Joe, dude.
Well, more power to him. That he's still living and thriving. You know?
Still doing what he's doing.
It's a special kind of animal, special kind of breed, man.
Yeah. Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. Make sure that you check out the podcast every Thursdays and Sundays. We just talking bullshit, trying to keep you company on your everyday stuff. You can find Edric on Instagram at ed2. Also, you can find that Secret Society where you guys can cop the clothing and the gear. Make sure you guys check that shit out, and we will see you all next time.
All right, Joe.
Peace.
Peace.